Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Manchester City played out something of a classic yesterday against Newcastle at St James's Park. It ended up 3-3. It was painful to watch at times, but also absolutely exhilarating. And you know me, I'm always one to tend to look more on the positive side of things, but I still think it's relatively justified in this instance. Even though there were some mistakes and some things to discuss, I think overall it was a pretty fun game with lots of reasons to feel positive as a Manchester City fan. Today I'm going to talk about 5 things that we took from that game. Not all positive, some negative too. Before I do that though, I do want to say please download OneFootball. Head to that link in the description down there below and get that juicy, wonderful, beautiful app by downloading it for absolutely free by clicking that link down there. So you've got all your information from across the world of football, not just Manchester City news. You can get all your stats and all your transfer gossip ahead of the window closing next week by getting it on your phone and getting all the notifications sent straight to you every time anything major happens. I've been using it for about 5 years now. It's a wonderful little app and an essential one for any football fans out there. So download it in the link in the description below. Help support my channel a little bit and get yourself a wonderful app. OneFootball is absolutely brilliant. Do it right now. And I'd also like to say please do hit the subscribe button if you are new to this channel. It's massively appreciated. And of course, I'll be here right until the end of the season, as always, chatting football with you guys. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content. And we're going to start with the only place I really had to start after yesterday. Erling is good at football. Bloody hell. Erling Haaland is absolutely excellent. I put down at the bottom in the little caption, complete Haaland. And because he is, do you remember when everyone was trying to tell us the Bundesliga tax, he's going to struggle because the Bundesliga is a farmers league and Erling Haaland is not going to be able to match with the pace and the movement of it. And they all said, oh, and he hasn't got a touch. It bounces off him and he's rubbish at that stuff and he's not going to be able to play Pep's football because he can't control the ball. And they also said he can't pass a ball either. It's loose and inaccurate and he can't do all that kind of stuff. And they also said he can't link up the play and hold up the ball. Oh, God, guess what? They were so wrong. They were so wrong. Erling Haaland yesterday put in a masterclass of centre-forward brilliance. Honestly, I thought he was absolutely impeccable. Lovely stuff from a lovely footballer. Yesterday, he was excellent. Absolutely excellent. In my opinion, he was the best Manchester City player on the pitch. It was the variety to his game that really excited me. It wasn't just the fact that he got his goal, which was an instinctive bit of poacher's finishing. It was his all-round game. The amount of times he got on the ball yesterday and something happened was wonderful. Be it holding off 2 defenders, turning, driving forward and playing a lovely weighted through ball to Kevin De Bruyne, which should have probably ended up in a goal, or another bit where he spinned away from one defender, cut in on his weaker foot and drilled it, and he was so lucky not to score from 20 yards. It was tipped onto the post from Nick Pope, or another 1 or 2 link-up plays and touches and flicks and so on. His general movement and his link-up play and his dribbling with the ball has been absolutely excellent so far. Some of those passes Kevin De Bruyne would have been proud of. He's so much better than people made out to be, and already look at his stats: 3 goals in 3 games with an assist too. He should have had more, if we're being honest, as well in terms of goals if other people had passed to him. He could easily be on 5 goals here, 5 or 6 goals and a couple of assists after 3 games already. He has taken to Manchester City like a duck to water, and the best thing about it, he's only going to get better as well. We know it, you know it, the rest of the world knows it, but they're in denial because Erling Haaland is an absolute generational footballer of immense quality. The only thing people said about him was he had some rough edges. He's already shown that he can improve like that. Imagine him a few months from now when he's fully got up to speed with Manchester City's system and the players have fully got up to speed with him too. It's going to be wonderful stuff. Erling Haaland is a complete centre-forward and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The second thing is I want to talk about that Foden pass. Now, I'm not going to argue that I'm right here. This isn't the point I'm making. What I'm going to argue about is the question mark at the end of the bottom is the important thing. Pass? Should he have passed? I think the thing to me is that we need to stop presuming that things are black and white and binary and that is either a yes answer or a no answer. A lot of people feel like he should have made that pass yesterday because a clip was shared where he looked like the defender was miles behind him and his foot was swung and he could easily go back. That's possibly true. I also did share another clip on Twitter where it looked like actually when the ball released from his foot, the defender, his foot was right next to him and he could have potentially blocked it out. I'm not saying that would have happened, but what I am saying is that I don't think this is anything close to the Bournemouth thing. Foden did actually glance, and I think he felt at that point that he might have got cut out if he tried to wrap his foot around it and pulled it back. It was a lot less clear-cut than Bournemouth, and I know people will say in the comments, but Pep waved his arms in frustration. Look, Pep was 50 yards away. He might have been right, Pep, but he also might have been moaning because he missed a chance. He also might not have seen a replay at that moment. He might have gone, no, do you know what, Phil, actually, I can see why you thought the pass might have been blocked off. We don't know, essentially. I think it's possible that he could have passed it, possibly. Also, it's possible that he may not be able to pass it. I guess the point I'm making is, I don't think this was an egregious mistake that we should absolutely beat him up over. And I think people are going far too down a rabbit hole and pointing him as selfish and whatever. And I don't think it was the same with the Bournemouth one. The Bournemouth one, yes, I was pulling my hair out too. But this one, look, for the past 2 years of Foden's career, because we haven't had a striker, we have been telling him to shoot and be aggressive in the area. Guardiola's come out and said it. He said he needs his midfielders, his wingers to be aggressive and shoot when they get a chance. And this was from a position that Phil Foden had scored plenty of goals from before. Remember his solo goal against Brighton where he scored from that angle? Do you remember his goal against Liverpool when he scored from that angle? Even his first ever Manchester City goal was from that angle too. He's shown plenty of times that he can shoot from there, and he's been told for ages now that that's what he should be doing. There's a good chance you're right, people in the comments, that he should have passed it, but I don't think it was anywhere near as bad a mistake as people making out, and I don't think it's a big issue. I think he's had 2 years of his brain being rewired one way, and now he has to get it the other way, and it will come in time. It's absolutely normal that players aren't fully in tune with each other. He's not a greedy player, Foden. He made a couple of mistakes, but he absolutely cares about his club in the way that you or I do, because he is a lifelong fan after all. Essentially, don't look for a victim and a scapegoat, man. Like, I don't like it when we get on the backs of players who've given so much and care about the club so much just because they make a mistake or two, or at least perceive to make a mistake or two. It doesn't make them bad footballers. It doesn't make them any less quality. It doesn't mean anything other than they are human, and we should be calm about it. Foden is a brilliant footballer, learning once again to play midfield after a year away from that, and learning now once again to play with a striker. It'll be fine because he's quality. The third thing I want to talk about is Ilkay's instinct, man. Ilkay Gundogan has such an intelligence to his game. I feel like every week I'm talking about Gundogan, but right now I do think once again it's pertinent to do that because his movement for that goal was absolutely delightful. Honestly, Gundogan has found a really, really intelligent trait over the past couple of years of knowing exactly where to be and how to be the solution to Manchester City's problems. Of course, we didn't have a striker when he started scoring goals, and he had to be the one, he decided anyway, to step up and get those goals, and it was a wonderful advancement to his game that hadn't really previously shown it in the past several years of his career, but he's developed that and it's still there. The intelligence of his movement to essentially occupy the space between the defenders who are too busy trying to pick up the winger maybe, or Erling Haaland, who obviously once again has that orbit, gravitational pull, so defenders orbit around him. It's so smart. He drifts in between defenders and goes into the box absolutely unmarked all the time, and he's going to continue to score once again because he's just simply smarter than the rest, and that is so crucial. I don't think he actually had his best game yesterday, in the midfield. I think the midfield was a little bit rusty, which we'll get into in a second, but I don't think it mattered, and I think ultimately, it did matter, but I guess the point, it doesn't matter to the point I'm making, that Gundogan is going to be a very big player for this season, and I think he is, and I think Guardiola appreciates what he brings. The fourth point I've got to talk about is that we are a little rusty still. I think we forget sometimes that just because we played 2 good games so far, it doesn't mean we haven't already blown off the cobwebs. Look, we haven't done that yet. It's still the third game of the season, and at this stage of the season, we are still facing new challenges and still trying to assess our fitness and our weak points. The one thing I will say is that I would much rather have a game like this and sort of get away with it. A point away at Newcastle is not bad after all, especially, given that we've already now been to West Ham away, Newcastle away. But we got away with it, got a point, we're still in a good position, and we will use this as a chance to learn some lessons about this team. It's very possible yesterday that the inverted midfielder thing with Kyle Walker was a bad call. It doesn't mean the system is bad. It possibly was a bad call though in this particular instance, but guess what? We learned from it. Second half was better, and Guardiola, well, as he always does, because Guardiola's an absolute genius, will take those lessons and he'll work on the training pitch this week, and I guarantee you we'll be ready next time something like this happens, because the players, look, fail better is what they always say. You can't always win. Sometimes you're going to fail, but next time fail better instead. Do it better. Learn from your mistakes and so on. And if you can get away with it and show some spirit and amount of fight back and get away with it, absolutely excellent. I feel that's where we're at yesterday. But it is still early season. We have got away with it and it's absolutely fine. The fifth thing we learned about is that sometimes we just need to slow it down. La pausa, as Guardiola would say, the Spanish phrase for knowing when to take a touch extra and keep the game simple. David Silva was the absolute master master of that. People like Xavi, Xabi Alonso, Iniesta and all people like that, they know when to slow it down. And Guardiola actually said as much yesterday. Guardiola was talking an awful lot, and I'm trying to find the quotes now as I talk about this. He was talking an awful lot about the speed of the game yesterday. He seemed to sort of enjoy it, actually, but he was talking about how, if anything, we probably need to slow it down a tiny bit. And sometimes we do. It was chaotic. It was chaotic, but that's football, you know. Bernardo actually said, Bernardo Silva said the last 25 or 30 minutes of the first half were very tough. They could have scored more than twice in that time. Overall, we played quite well, but we weren't controlling the counter-attacks. My perception of the pitch is that we started attacking too quick. When we start playing like this and it's too quick, it's better for the opponent. I can't find the exact quote, but it was notable for me that Guardiola specifically called out Jack Grealish. He said sometimes we need people like Jack or maybe Riyad or Bernardo, but because they slow the game down a little bit and they essentially help you maintain control. People dig out Jack Grealish an awful lot, but I don't think it's a coincidence that sometimes City ball descends into chaos ball when he's not on the pitch. A Manchester City system, a Pep Guardiola system anyway, does require players who can hold up the ball a little bit, slow it down a little bit, and help Manchester City dictate the rhythm and tempo of the game. Guardiola did say that Phil Foden likes to be really aggressive, and so does Kevin De Bruyne, so does Haaland, people like that. But I also think that's why currently he's trying to favour Gundogan in the middle and so on. Rodri, of course, great at that, but I do think we need to find our composure a tiny little bit because games can run away from you. If it becomes a boxing match away at St James's Park, Newcastle are going to absolutely thrive, and the best way to control St James's Park is control the rhythm and the tempo of the game. And yesterday, it did run away from us a tiny bit, but that's fine. Problems are there to be solved in football, and problems are unavoidable as well. You are going to suffer at certain stages of the season, as Guardiola always says, because he knows a damn sight more about football than all of us combined watching this video collectively, because the man is a genius. He didn't seem worried yesterday at all. Guardiola didn't look too frustrated, in my opinion. He looked after the game like a guy who understands football is football, and Newcastle are a better side than we give him credit for as City fans, and I include myself in that. They are a very good side, who've got a lot of momentum right now and a lot of goodwill in their squad. They are not goodwill for the general public, but the players, they believe in themselves, and the fans believe in that team again. So that was a difficult game, and we didn't quite control the tempo, but we will learn from this and we will be better for it. I bet you anything that will improve from this, because we always do. But guys, they are the 5 things that I took from it. There are loads of talking points. We could talk about, obviously, Ake unfortunately getting injured. We could talk about what qualifies as a red card these days with Kieran Trippier. Maybe a few other things, like particularly Bernardo on the right or whatever, who I thought was fine, by the way, there, and a lovely little assist. But that, or maybe even the squad balance, because I think that was evident yesterday as well. But that is obviously all got time for on this video. Go watch my match reaction, of course, and I will be back for another video, of course, tomorrow, and all the usual stuff. Thanks for watching this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Download One Football. Thank you to all the patrons currently scrolling down the side of the screen. You're all my heroes, and I'll catch you all very soon. In a bit.